This anime is related to magical powers. A boy named Haruto is reborn as a demon and tries to save the world from evil. He has been bestowed with extraordinary magical powers by a fairy. When the story of the first episode begins, we are introduced to a boy named Haruto. He has locked himself in a room and has been there for a long time, only thinking about himself and his future. Suddenly, a light shines on his face, and when he opens his eyes, he is faced with a fairy who congratulates him for being chosen for reincarnation. Haruto is shocked to hear that he died in his sleep. The fairy then reveals that the world he is being transported to is full of magic and assures him not to worry, as he will be sent there with full force. He is happy to hear that he can now fulfill his dreams, as he was a useless person in his past life. He willingly accepts reincarnation and is born into another world as a child in a king's house, where everyone is happy to see him. Being born into a royal family, his talent is recognized. They check his mana level. They think that his mana level will be in a good position. They know that the highest limit of mana in a person is 77. However, they are upset to see that his power only has 2 levels, which is considered very weak and goes against their dignity and glory. His mana level is 1002, but they do not realize this. Now the king and queen are worried about what they will tell the people about their weak child. They are very curious about people's questions and their thinking. To avoid this situation, they make a plan to abandon him in the forest and make the people believe that their son died shortly after birth. Haruto worries that he is worthless even in this world. He thinks he is going to be humiliated here, just like he was in the other world, and this thought is not going to leave him. He gets upset, thinking that he is still a child and that he will soon be killed before he grows up. In the next scene, we learn that the fairy meets another fairy and explains that she gave a lot of power to Haruto, but his parents do not understand his true potential. The other fairy asks how much power she gave him, and she responds that she gave him 1002, but his parents thought that he had only gained a little power. They could not recognize the real extent of his abilities. The scene then shifts to the forest, where the child, Haruto, believes that he has a lot of power and decides to use his magical abilities. He successfully performs a magical feat. He does many things with his magical power, but then a large wolf appears in front of him, and he fights it. Haruto uses his magical powers to throw trees at the wolf, but the wolf survives. When he sees that nothing happened to the wolf even after throwing the trees, he understands that it is very powerful. He uses his magic power and thinks that with the help of his magic power, he can lift a piece of land and throw it. He then grabs a piece of land and starts throwing it at the wolf, urging it to give up. After this, the wolf becomes very scared and tells him to stop. "I have put my arms in front of you," the wolf claims. The wolf states to kill it, but Haruto refuses to do so. He tells the wolf that if it stays calm, he will not kill it because he does not care if it dies or lives. Eventually, the wolf becomes Haruto's slave and starts living with him. Haruto, initially unable to speak, remembers his magical power and uses it to regain his ability to speak. He shares his entire story with the wolf, explaining how his parents abandoned him in the forest and how his strength is weak. The wolf tells him that he has a lot of power and that he looks like a demon king. In response, Haruto declares himself to be the demon king and gives the wolf the name Flay. Suddenly, Haruto falls to the ground, realizing that he needs human milk to survive. Flay transforms into the shape of a beautiful girl, but without any clothes. Haruto asks her to wear some clothes, and when she does, she looks beautiful. She tries to feed Haruto but fails. While they are together, they hear a voice. Flay senses that someone has come for her, but Haruto insists that he will not speak to that person in front of others. A man appears and informs Flay that he has come to retrieve the baby. Flay immediately objects, saying that the man cannot do that. The man asks, "Who are you to stop me?" Flay responds that she has just become Haruto's slave. He is her master, and she will never leave him. The man explains that the baby belongs to his relative and was abandoned. He only came to retrieve the child. Flay finds it strange that they first abandoned a child in the forest and then came to get him. The man argues that Flay cannot take care of the baby, but Flay retorts, asking how he can say that so confidently. The man proposes that if Flay wants to be with Haruto as his slave, she can come with them and become Haruto's slave. They come to an agreement, and the man breaks Haruto's basket and pours blood on it to make everyone think he is dead. 5 years later, Haruto is living with his family, having grown up considerably. While he is happy with his life, there is one thing that troubles him: his little sister's dislike for him. Haruto worries about why she hates him so much, as he would be concerned if anyone had such a dear sister. Flay becomes their maidservant, providing food to everyone, and Haruto's sister falls in love with her. This upsets Haruto, as his sister loves Flay but not him. His younger sister asks Flay to play with her, but Flay refuses, citing her status as a slave. Haruto then orders Flay to play with his sister as he commands her as his slave. Then they start playing together. After some time, Haruto's mother approaches him and expresses her concern about his sister's behavior towards him. Haruto denies that there is any problem, but his mother suggests that his sister may be embarrassed about how to talk to an older guy like him, as she does not know his age. Haruto worries that he does not know how old he was before and realizes that he was an elderly man. His mother advises him to do something nice for Charlotte to make her happy and provides him with guidance. In the next scene, Haruto is lying on his bed, contemplating what to do next. He is deeply upset by his sister's behavior towards him and believes it is time to leave. He tells Flay to stay with his sister, but Flay does not want to. To resolve everything, Haruto creates a statue of himself and activates it by pulling its cheek, hoping that if he leaves, Flay will go with him. Later, Haruto engages in sword fighting with his father, who teaches him how to use a sword. Haruto's father asks him about his interests besides warships, and Haruto responds that he is interested in ancient magic. His father expresses surprise, as he previously thought Haruto was just wasting time in his room, but now realizes he needs to do something. He suggests that Haruto start with a battle. Despite his father's significant power, Haruto uses his magic powers to create a barrier around himself and attacks his father. His father dodges it, but the attack strikes the ground, creating a big hole. Then his father attacks him, but Haruto effortlessly dodges it. His father remarks that no one under the level of 30 should be able to dodge that attack. Charlotte, Haruto's sister, witnesses the sword fight between her brother and father. Haruto's mother asks his father about his training, and his father replies that he might be a reincarnated demon. However, Haruto's mother becomes upset and tells his father not to speak like that, insisting that Haruto is just a normal kid. Charlotte is present and also expresses disbelief, stating that there is no such thing. And that's the end of the first episode. As always, if you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel. I'll be uploading a lot of videos just like this one, so I'll see you in the next one.